My name is Evelyn Carter. I am 94 years old, and I need to tell you something I wish someone had told me when I was 24. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your parents, not your partner, not the government, not God, not luck, not time. Nobody. I learned that lesson in 1953. I was 23 years old, standing in a narrow kitchen in Birmingham, Alabama, holding a pink eviction notice in my shaking hands. I had a 2-year-old daughter asleep in the next room, and I had exactly $11.43 in my purse. Her father had left 3 weeks earlier. No warning, no dramatic fight, just a note on the kitchen table that said, "I can't do this." I remember staring at that sentence for a long time. I can't do this. As if parenthood was a hobby you could quit, as if love was optional. I waited. That's what people do when they don't know what to do. I waited for my mother to call. I waited for him to come back. I waited for something to change. I thought maybe someone would knock on the door with a solution. They didn't. The rent was due in 5 days. The eviction date was printed in bold letters. My daughter still needed milk. And I realized something that changed the rest of my life. There was no cavalry, no dramatic rescue, no miracle. There was just me. You know what's dangerous about youth? You believe someone will catch you. You believe that if things get bad enough, someone older, stronger, richer, wiser will step in. I believe that too. I believe my husband would grow up. I believe my family would intervene. I believe things would work themselves out. They didn't. So I got up the next morning, put on my only decent dress, walked 3 miles in heels to a laundry service, and asked for a job. The owner looked at me and said, "You ever worked a press machine?" I said, "Yes." I had never seen one before, but I learned that afternoon. My hands blistered, my back screamed, my feet bled. But at the end of that week, I had $32 and I paid my rent. Not because someone saved me, because I stopped waiting. That was the first time I understood something most people don't understand until it's too late. Waiting feels safe. Waiting feels hopeful. Waiting feels like faith. But most of the time, waiting is just fear wearing a polite mask. You're waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel confident, waiting for the right partner, waiting for the perfect opportunity, waiting for someone to notice your potential, waiting for permission. You are wasting your life. I didn't have the luxury of waiting. Single mother at 23 in 1953 did not have the luxury of self-doubt. There was no time for existential crisis, no time for identity confusion. There was rent, there was food, there was survival. And survival is a ruthless teacher. You either adapt or you disappear. Years later, when my daughter was 14, she asked me something I will never forget. She said, "Mom, weren't you scared?" And I told her the truth. I was terrified. But fear doesn't pay bills. Fear doesn't protect children. Fear doesn't build a life. Action does. You don't eliminate fear. You move while afraid. That is adulthood. You want to know the saddest thing I see at 94? People twice my granddaughter's age still waiting for a better job to start living, waiting for marriage to feel whole, waiting for therapy to fix them, waiting for the economy, waiting for clarity. Clarity comes after you move. Confidence comes after you act, not before. I remarried at 31. Good man, hard worker, steady. But here's something nobody tells you about marriage: it doesn't rescue you either. For a while, I slipped back into old thinking. I thought, now I can relax. Now someone else carries half the weight. Then he lost his job during a factory shutdown, and I watched him shrink, watched his pride crack, watched his identity unravel. And I realized something else. Nobody's coming to save him either. So I worked 2 jobs. He worked odd jobs. We survived together. But survival was still something we created, not something handed to us. There's a fantasy sold to young people. It says, if I just find the right person, everything will fall into place. No, the right person walks beside you. They do not carry you, and you do not carry them. You build together, or you sink together. I buried that husband at 62, heart attack. He kissed me goodbye that morning, never came back. People said, at least you had all those years, as if grief measures fairness. You know what I thought standing in that funeral home? Nobody is coming now either. My children were grown. My friends had their own lives. There is a loneliness in widowhood that is almost physical, like your shadow has disappeared. But even then, nobody was coming to save me from grief. You carry it, you breathe through it, you wake up the next day. That's the pattern of life. Wake up, do the thing, repeat. At 70, I learned something else. The world does not reward you for your potential. It rewards you for your consistency. I see so many talented people paralyzed by options. They want to choose the perfect path. They analyze every decision. They compare themselves endlessly. I had no time for that. And I chose the next right step over and over. Laundry job, night school, clerical position, office manager, small savings account, tiny house. Nothing glamorous, but stable. At 94, stability feels like luxury. You think excitement is the goal. It isn't. Peace is. And peace comes from ownership. Ownership of your mistakes, ownership of your choices, ownership of your direction, and not blame, not excuses, not if only. Ownership. Let me tell you something uncomfortable. Sometimes you are not stuck. You are comfortable being rescued. You like the idea that someone else will step in. Because if someone else saves you, then failure isn't your fault. If your parents bail you out, if your partner finances your dream, if your boss hands you opportunity, you never had to risk yourself. You never had to fail, honestly. But when nobody comes, you discover who you are. And that discovery is terrifying and powerful at the same time. My daughter once asked me, Mom, how did you become so strong? I didn't become strong. I became responsible. Strength is what people call you when you stop avoiding responsibility. There's no mystery, no motivational speech, just small daily decisions. Get up, do the hard thing, don't wait. At 94, my body is tired. My hands shake, my knees ache. I cannot drive anymore. And guess what? Nobody is coming to reverse that either. Aging is not unfair. It is consistent. It comes for all of us. And the earlier you understand that life is self-driven, the calmer you become. You stop expecting rescue. You stop expecting guarantees. You stop negotiating with reality. You just move. When my granddaughter Sophie was 22, she called me crying. Bad breakup, lost job, apartment lease ending. She said, I don't know what to do. I just want someone to fix this. And I told her gently, no one is coming, baby, but you are more capable than you think. She didn't like that answer. People rarely do. They want to hear it will all magically work out. They want comfort. They want reassurance. It might not, but you will if you move. I am 94 years old. I have been abandoned, broke, grieving, alone, and every single time the solution started the same way. I stopped waiting. You think your life changes when someone appears. It changed. That's it. There is no secret door, no hidden mentor, no universal timing. There is only decision, courage in very small doses. At 94, here is what I know for certain. The people who thrive are not the ones who were rescued. They are the ones who realized rescue was a myth. So they built anyway. They acted anyway. They moved anyway, even while shaking, even while uncertain, even while grieving. Nobody is coming to save you. And that is not depressing. It is freeing because it means your life belongs to you, not to chance, not to waiting, not to someday, to you right now. If you are 25, stop waiting. If you are 40, stop postponing. If you are 60, stop assuming. Nobody is coming, but you are here, and that is enough. Now get up and move.